Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tunde Obankole from University Chaplain Corps and Rescue Mission. I started some series on professional chaplaincy. I've talked about healthcare chaplain. I've talked about military chaplain. In the last video, I talked about corporate chaplain. And I'm here again today to talk about prison chaplain. We have a lot of prison chaplains in Nigeria. We have a lot of Christians who have prison ministry in Nigeria and Africa. But I felt prison ministry is more complex than what we practice. And in this lecture, I will be opening our eyes to what we need to know about prison chaplain as one aspect of chaplaincy professionalization. Once again, I said my name is Tunde Obankole, and I'll be taking you through these short lectures by the grace of God. I am trusting God that you will really grab one or two things in the lecture. Now, the state has two manifold responsibility about crime and punishment. Every nation has two responsibility about crime and punishment. Number one, the first responsibility is to discourage behaviors that is harmful to human rights and the fundamental norms of the civil life. I repeat, the first one is to discourage any behaviors, any attitude that is harmful to human rights and the fundamental norms of civil life. Number two is to repair a bad behaviors through a penal system, the disorder created by criminal activities. Number one is to discourage any behavior that is harmful to human life or human right or the fundamental right of a human being. Number two is to repair that norms or that bad attitude in people through a penal system, a penalty system. That's what I mean, like a judicial system. Now, the judicial and the penal institution play a fundamental role in protecting citizens, and safeguarding the common goods. By their very nature, these two institutions, the penal and the judicial, these two institutions must contribute to the rehabilitation of offenders. So prisons are a reality of any society, but quite unfortunate, prisons cause more problem than what it solves. Prison cause more problem than what it solves. Can I quickly say this? Generally speaking, prisoners are people excluded and aborted from the society due to their inhumane or criminal or unlawful acts. Prisoners are people that are being secluded or excluded or aborted from the society or from the civil society due to their inhumane act, due to their criminal activities, or due to their unlawful act. Prisoners can be easily overwhelmed by feelings of isolation. This isolation, shames, rejections, threaten and shatter their hope and aspiration for a future. This aspect need to be taken care of by a chaplain. Hence, isolating them will cause more harms to their life. It will cause more harm to their life. Each prison has a chaplaincy teams composed of chaplains from different faiths and denominations or organizations. Prison chaplain provide the doorway into the prison. There on the other side, they are in charge. Prison or chaplains are in charge of the spiritual well-being or welfare of the flocks of people who are incarcerated or who are kept or isolated in the prison. There is a position of neutrality within the institution. When I mean the institution, I'm talking about the prison. There is a position of neutrality because they provide confidentiality and a safe place for any inmate to look at issues of spirituality or spiritual morals and ethical nature with a view to increase their well-being. Prison chaplains come from different backgrounds and religious tradition. All chaplains should have the endorsement of their religious faith or sponsors organizations and should be prepared to undertake training. By law, chaplains are responsible for providing for the spiritual care of all inmates regardless of faith background, regardless of your religional, denominational or faith belief. Now, Christian prison chaplain must balance their own faith with what it looked like to support a non-Christian spiritual life, a role that is becoming increasingly difficult because of overcrowding in the prison and diversity of faith in the population. Between the prison gate and the society, there is a large gap. When someone is an ex-convict, no one in the society wants to relate or associate with the person. Now, people marginalize them or marginalize prisoners. Chaplains are expected to bridge the gap between the prison gate and the society. Sometimes when you hear that somebody goes to prison or is an ex-convict, nobody wants to have anything to do with such a fellow, not even his or her family member. So this is one of the responsibility that is expected of the chaplain personnel. Now in Nigeria, so many people that engage in prison evangelism goes to prison to give them some basic amenities of life like toiletries, like Indomie, some little food and small shops and things like that. But that's not only what prison ministry is all about. What about rehabilitation? What about reformation? What about reintegration? What about skill acquisition? What about bridging the gap between the society and the prison gate? What about arranging for pro bono service for inmates who have not appeared before any judicial system or any court, or whose cases are just minor, or who are awaiting trials and nobody cares to know what is going on with them? There are a lot happening in the prison. What about seeing to the infringement of the fundamental human rights of the prisoners in the prisons? What happened to those children that are being born in the prisons? Who speaks on what happens to female prisoners that they get pregnant in the prisons? So many issues to be addressed. We cannot lose hope on prisoners because they are being isolated. We need to see to how their attitude, their life could be reshaping. Now, what are the duties of a prison chaplain? What are the duties? I'm going to take us through 14 responsibilities and duties of a prison chaplain. Then I end these lectures to go into another aspect of chaplaincy professionalization. Number one, providing for the spiritual care of all inmates. All inmates. One of the duties of a prison chaplain is to provide for their spiritual care of all inmates. Number two, assist with service of worship. Assist with service of worship. Number three, help to lead religious instructions class. Help or assist to lead religious instruction class. We've seen so many prison evangelism teams who have even established some Bible schools in the prisons, and they have even graduated a lot of students there. A lot of inmates are now pastors, only waiting, trusting God to finish their jail term and go back to the society. But one good thing is their attitude has been changed by the grace of God. Number four, participate in human relation and parenting class. Human relation and parenting class. This is a good way of reintegrating them into the society. You don't just release the prisoners and just tell them to go. If their attitude have not been worked upon or changed, if they have not been rehabilitated, they go back into societies and commit more crime. One time ago, we visited a prison and met a man who they just released from the prison, and were trying to take up the work of rehabilitation on that man. And the man was crying. We thought he's happy that he's been released, and he asked the question, where do you expect me to go? He has been awaiting trial for 17 years on what he knows nothing about. No evidences against him, no charge against him, no family know where he is. He doesn't know whereabouts of his family, children, and wife. 17 years of suffering for nothing. And now you release him for what? So such people need to be taken through human relation and parenting class. Number five, counseling or counsel the bereaved. Number six, befriend with selected prisoners as a way of correcting their attitude. That's one of the responsibility of a chaplain. Sometimes some of them are serving their jail term and they send a message across to them. Your wife died, your children died, you lost your mother, your father. So number five, that's why I said one of the responsibilities of the prison chaplain is to counsel the bereaved. And number 6, you as prison chaplain is expected to have some selected friends among the prisoner as a way of correcting their attitude. Number 7, undertake administrative duties and prepare prayer letters. Number 8, arrange visit by external group. Arrange visit by external group. You can arrange some external religious group that want to come ministers to the prisoners. Is a work of a prison chaplain. Number 9, help prisoners, families, and friends in visitors centers. Help to counsel them, encourage them not to lose hope on their relations. They should not, because he's in the prison, and forget everything about him. Something good can still come up from the fellow. So it's a work of a chaplain. Number 10, like I said, rehabilitation, reformation, and reintegrations of the inmate. Number 11, foster attitudinal change. Their attitude towards life needs to change. Because of the isolation, a lot has been affected in their life. Number 12, provide counseling for the inmate on suicide prevention, hope, restoration, depression, and rejection. The thought to attempt suicide can be coming over and over because of so many traumas or psychological traumas they are going through. Rejections, restoration, depression, and hope. So a chaplain needs to provide counseling on all these areas. Number 13, provide religious and moral education for the inmate. Provide religious and moral education for the prisoners. The last but not the least, pastoral service and support for the prisons officer. Not only your ministry is not only restricted to the inmate or prisoners, you provide pastoral care and support for the prisons officers or prison warders. The work of a prison chaplain is both challenging and rewarding. Most chaplains see it as an opportunity to make a positive impact in the lives of some vulnerable and marginalized members of the community. Till I come your way again, as we'll be going through community development chaplain. Thank you for listening. God bless you. And I want to tell you, chaplaincy is a noble profession. Please do not relent. Let's keep doing all we need to do until chaplaincy gain its relevant respect in the society. Thank you once again. My name is Tunde Bankole. God bless you.